give the illusion that it's turning. Oh, shut up, you wanker. What's happening, my fellow geeks and geekettes? Welcome to a brand new episode of Cosplay Chris, and today it is a brand spanking new episode of Chris's Custom Collectibles. It has been long overdue. It has been a very hot minute since my last custom collectible. So today we are going to be pimping out the Batman Missions Batmobile. I've seen this thing in Big W for so long. It's always been there, and I went to get it last week, and do you think I could? No, because they're all sold out. So I had to buy this online on Big W. Looking at it, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful blank canvas, so to speak. It's just going to be a lot of painting, pretty much. Painting, masking off stuff, dry brushing, weathering, shoe polish, you name it. We're going to be getting some dirt from the driveway and putting them on the tires. In terms of the cannons, I actually want them a nice matte black, and then we'll go in and dry brush them. The missiles, I'll actually probably do a nice red and dry brush them as well with some exposed metals and stuff like that. I do want to get some pillowcase stuffing, wrap it around a wire armature and have it coming out of one of the cannons here with the missile at the other end. So it looks like a smoke trail, and that's pretty much it. It's a simple one, but it's going to be effective, and that's the point of a custom collectible. This shouldn't take too long, but it's a good way to kill some time in the afternoon. So with that being said, let's get to it. Okay, so the first area of business with any custom collectible is we have to see what is going on here and what our intentions are and what the overall look we're going for with the end result. So I'm actually thinking a lot of matte black. I kind of want it looking very rustic, old school, a mixture of, say, the Arkham Knight Batmobile and a mixture of the Affleck Batmobile, the Tumbler, and just kind of my own spin on it too. So there's going to be a lot of weathering throughout the body of the Batmobile. We're also going to be doing some rust here and there. So this thing has like been severely battered and weathered. Not to mention we're also going to be putting some old dirt from the driveway on the tires there with some skid marks and, you know, mud turfed up all around the wheel well there. So before we get to priming and spraying with the matte black, we have to take this little beastie apart, and it's just a matter of unscrewing it from the bottom. Now always remember, keep your loose screws in a cup or Tupperware container so they don't go walkabout, because it's going to make putting this thing back together pretty difficult. We're going to be using a flat grey primer from Rust-Oleum. This is my favorite primer to use all over majority of the surface. After that, we're going to let the primer fully dry, and then we can go to work using a flat black also from Rust-Oleum. Alright, geeks and geekettes, all the paint has fully dried, especially the metallic parts. So the next step is we're going to start to go in and use some shoe polish and some chrome silver from Model Masters. So this is going to be the detailing side and the weathering side, and this is going to be the dry brushing side. So I've gone ahead and done a test on one of the wheels here just with the shoe polish, and it's just a matter of brushing it all on the piece and wiping the excess off with a paper towel or a rag. So I'm going to apply this method to the rest of the wheels, the front bumper, and of course the engine. Now, after spray painting the engine, I did realize I did not go in with the Dremel and bore the hole out where the afterburner is, so I did that and it did not scratch the paint, thank goodness. Once that's done, we're going to be grabbing our Model Masters Chrome Silver and just sporadically dry brushing it all over the body of the Batmobile as well as the fins. Now, I went ahead and used a gloss red on one of the missiles. I'm going to have one missile being launched and the other one is going to be missing. So in other words, it's already been fired off, and this is the remaining missile that has been fired from the other gun mounted on the Batmobile. Now I am pretty happy with the transparent spray paint here. I do like the blue. It's kind of a stark difference against the matte black, so pretty happy with how that's looking. But once it's inserted inside the body shell of the Batmobile, I'm going to go around and do some soiling and weathering just around the perimeter of each panel. All right, we've broken out the shoe polish. It's a true custom collectible now. So with that being said, let's get to it. Alright, so a couple of things have happened since I last hit record. So I've actually gone ahead and gutted this section of the body of the Batmobile and this section here. And the reason being, and gone ahead and removed the front wheels altogether, is because I want this in a fishtailing action. I want it as like a dynamic kind of pose with one of the missiles being launched out of the gun itself, and also just have it on a fishtail kind of movement, especially on the base. I want, you know, mud and stuff kind of kicking up as it's fishtailing around and firing off a projectile, is so the wheel can slot in place like that and give the illusion that it's turning. Oh, shut up, you wanker. And then vice versa, just like so. So the time has come to do some more dry brushing. We're just gonna get rid of these wheels for now, but we're gonna be dry brushing some gold just to give the illusion of kicked up mud around the wheel well. So I'm gonna repeat this step on the remaining 3 parts of the wheels, and just going in over certain places like the engine here, just to give it a bit of wear and tear and almost a rust illusion, as well as some dirt. So there is still going to be some driveway dirt to come, especially on the wheels and kicking up over the wheel well on top of the gold weathering that you see right here. And also dry brush some silver on the windshield, so it actually gives it a pretty nice weathered look, like it's kind of been scuffed and stones and debris have hit it, so I'm pretty happy with that for the most part. Now once the dry brushing stage is done and we've done some dry brushing around the tires and some weathering, we're then going to start to work on the missile being projected out of the cannon here. So it's actually going to be on a wire armature with some stuffing, some cotton stuffing trailing behind it to be like a smoke plume, so that's pretty exciting. Now we also are going to go in and do some dry brushing of silver, just to give it a bit more weathering and a bit more texture and just a bit more substance instead of just a flat gloss red. Alright, Geeks and Geekettes, we are onto the final leg of this custom collectible, and that is the base. Because let's face it, what is a custom collectible without a nice, dynamic little base? So we're going for simplicity this time around. We're going to be going for a road setting that is very muddy, very gravelly, and then we're going to be skidding up some dirt and some wet gravel, courtesy of the Batmobile here. So the base foundation for this is some MDF board from Bunnings Warehouse. The actual road and asphalt, I don't know, is actually going to be some 80 grit sandpaper. This works perfect if you want a road base feature for model making, etc. And it just works perfectly, and it's cheap, so very cost effective. So as you can see right here, I've lined up these 2 pieces here. I'm going to trace down here and use the cutter to cut this piece off. We're then going to use some spray contact adhesive to contact adhere the sandpaper to the MDF, and because both surfaces are very porous, it's gonna stick like shit to a blanket. Then once that's dried, fully cured, I'm gonna grab some masking tape, mask off the areas where I want the road markings to be, and we're just gonna dab some student acrylic, some yellow student acrylic for that matter, to give us the illusion of road markings. Now I've got some PVA wood glue here, and we're going to be mixing some good old driveway dirt because, again, like the base, what's a custom collectible without some driveway dirt? We're going to be doing the PVA glue and driveway dirt mixture combo, and that way we can smear it all over the road. And then I'm going to grab the Batmobile and kind of wipe it in the direction I want it to go when it's fishtailing, so it's going to kick up some gravel. And I also want to try the idea of making a separate batch of driveway dirt and PVA glue, put it out on some silicone so it can dry in a flat sheet, peel it off, and maybe, just maybe if it works, because at the moment it's just in theory and in my head, I can tuck it under one of the tires that's actually properly fishtailing and kicking up the gravel, so it just gives that real action dynamic look. Now, apart from that, I also will be going in and adding the wire armature with the cotton stuffing, and then adding the missile at the end of it so it is blasting at it and has a smoke trail coming behind it. Again, the idea of this build is to keep it simple but also dynamic and very action-packed. So with that being said, it's time for a montage. Now before we wrap this custom collectible up, Geeks and Geekettes, we have a little bonus round. So as you can see, we've got the afterburner here on the engine, and we kind of want it looking a bit dynamic, much like how the tires are kicking up mud. We're going to add a little flame. So this is leftover, and I found it in storage. It was made by NECA for the Freddy vs. Jason set that I got when I was like 14, 15 years old. The figures have since broken and fallen apart, and this was just in storage lying about, and I added some blood splatter when I was 14 or 15 years old. So I cut one of the flames off that I think will fit perfectly in the pipe. So I'm going to hit this part here with a paint stripper gun just so it softens it and becomes malleable, and that way we can wedge it in there. And look at that already. It just gives it that nice dynamic look, and it's just going to add to the overall piece, and then we're finally done. We can call it a day. And there you have it, guys. We've taken the Batman Missions stock standard Batmobile and turned it into something rugged and badass. So I thoroughly enjoyed this project. It was something fun, it was something different, and it totally mixed things up. Now, as always, this piece is for sale on my Etsy store. If any of you guys are interested, I will leave the link in the video description below. So guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Wherever you are in the world, have yourselves an absolute cracker of a day. I hope you're well, hope you're happy, be merry, be silly, and until next time, geeks, please always remember, cosplayers do it best.